3 years ago, I sat in my house alone. I had no idea what I was supposed to do next. My wife Cheryl had died. We were together for 34 years. She was the person I did everything with. And now I was sitting in a house full of her things, looking at a calendar that used to be packed, and it was empty. I wasn't depressed. I wasn't broken. I was just lost. And I didn't know if I was allowed to start something new. It was okay to go outside and feel good, even if it mattered to go outside. So I went outside, and then I went outside again and again. In the summer between working in the gardens, kayaking, riding my recumbent trike, traveling in my van, I figured out what I was supposed to do next. And that's what this channel is all about. Stick with me for a few minutes because I want to tell you the real story behind Getting Dirty with Glenn, why it exists, what I'm building, and why I think it might be exactly what you need right now too. Let me back up and tell you a little bit about who I am, because I think it matters for why you should listen to me, listen to anything I say. I've been a gardener, professional gardener, and landscape architect for 45 years. Not a hobbyist, a professional. I've designed and built large residential and estate gardens across southeast Wisconsin and northeast Pennsylvania. I know what it takes to make something grow in this climate with these soils in budget for real people. I'm also a drone pilot, FAA Part 107 certified SUAS, and I run a second business called Black Shirt Studios that does drone photography and videography for contractors, realtors, and developers. I know cameras. I know what it takes to capture something worth watching. I ride bikes, everything from fat tire e-bikes to recumbent Kayak 559 that I genuinely think might be the most fun thing you can do on wheels over the age of 50. I have quiet, flat water kayak. I camp in my van, which I've set up to be my home base for weekend adventures all over Wisconsin and Michigan this coming year. I live in southeast Wisconsin, which, if you don't know, it is right between the Milwaukee River and Lake Michigan, right next to one of the best bike trails, the Interurban Bike Trail, and about 2 to 3 hours from anywhere in northern Wisconsin that's fun to go and do stuff outside. That's the resume, but here's the part that actually matters. 3 years ago, I lost my wife, Cheryl, after a 2-year journey with stage 4 terminal cancer. I say journey because that's really what it was. It wasn't just illness. It was 2 years of fighting, of hoping, of learning how to be present with someone you love who is leaving, and we both knew it. And when it was over, I had to figure out how to be a person again, who I was. Here's what nobody tells you about grief. The world keeps moving. Your clients still need their gardens. The sun still comes up. The bike trail's still right there. And at some point, maybe not immediately, but eventually, you have to decide what you're going to do with all that. For me, the answer was outside. Every time I felt the weight of the house, I went outside. Every time I didn't know what to do with an afternoon, I got on a bike. Every time I needed to think through something that felt too big for 4 walls, I found some water and sat next to it. And I noticed something. The people who were doing the same thing, the people out on the trail, on the water, in their gardens, they all had a lightness about them. A real one, not the fake kind where you perform like you're being okay. The kind where your body is moving and your head is quieter and you remember that you're actually alive, and that's not nothing. Cheryl was a big part of why I loved being outside. And I spent a long time thinking that doing it without her was somehow a betrayal. I was lost. But eventually I understood, and this is the one thing I want you to hear, that living fully is the only real way to honor someone who loved you, not to be sad, not to be lost. So Getting Dirty with Glenn is not really a gear channel. It's not a gardening show. It's not a van life vlog. Lots of people do that. Even though I'm going to show you a lot of what happens inside this van. It's a channel and a website and a Substack and a community for people over 45 who are choosing to show up for their own life, who are deciding that the best years don't have to be the ones that are already behind them. That's who I built this for. The guy who retired and doesn't know what to do with himself. The woman who just went through a divorce and is rediscovering who she is, or is the CEO of a company and struggles with that. The couple that's been meaning to get outside more and just needs someone to show them it's actually doable and actually worth it. And also, yeah, I'm going to test gear because I spent my own money on a lot of this stuff and I have opinions. When I tell you the Kayak 559 is worth every penny, it's because I've put miles on it by myself without Cheryl. When I tell you a kayak is good for someone who's never kayaked before, it's because I've been that person. I understand what makes a great kayak. The honest review, the real experience, the gear that actually makes it easier to get out there. That's the content. And all of it is in service of one thing, getting you and me outside. Because I've seen what it does. I lived it. It was my therapy. So here's what this channel actually looks like going forward. Let me break it down so you know exactly what you're signing up for. Although you're not actually signing up for, just checking back in with me. Gardening, 45 years of doing this professionally. I'm going to show you how to work smarter in your garden. The tools that are actually worth buying when your back doesn't want to cooperate like it used to. To the plants that thrive in our Wisconsin winters. The design decisions that make a property look like someone actually thought about it instead of just backed up a pickup truck and slammed on the brakes. Real stuff from someone who's done it for decades. Let's talk about biking. I ride everything. Fat tire e-bikes, recumbent trikes, trail bikes. I live 10 minutes from, actually I live right on one of the best bike trails in southeast Wisconsin. I'm going to take you on all the bike trails in southeast Wisconsin, or Wisconsin and Michigan. I'll tell you what I buy, what to avoid, and what works. If you're 50-something and you think you're too old to get back on a bike, I want to personally prove you wrong on camera. Let's talk about kayaking, the serenity of kayaking. I've kayaked for maybe 25 years, which makes me a better reviewer for you. I don't have any real biases. I'm asking the same questions you'd ask. What's the right kayak for a beginner? How do you car top it, or what's better options? What kayak do I find finally that works for me after all the kayaks that I've had? And what are some of the great places to kayak in Wisconsin and Michigan? Let's talk about van life. I'm sitting in a 2025 Ram ProMaster that I'm setting up as my weekend home base. I want to show you how I use it, how I made it so I can use it for work and for camping and paddling, and how I use it for weekend adventure travel in a way that's practical for someone who has a real job, real responsibilities, destination guides for campsites, reviews, gear, setups, all of it with the goal of making it feel doable and not spending $200,000 on a van. It's also going to be the real stuff. I'm going to talk about grief and loss, not in a heavy way, not every video, but honestly, because it's part of this. If you've lost someone or a job, or you're in that season of life where things feel uncertain, I want this channel to feel like a place where you're understood, because I get it. I'm in it with you. I've been living it each and every day for the last 5 years when Cheryl was first diagnosed with terminal cancer, to when she passed away. So here's the thing I want to leave you with. It doesn't matter what shape you're in. I'm round, that's a shape. That's another story. I'm going to lose that. It doesn't matter if you haven't been on a bike in 20 years or 50 years, or if the last time you gardened was with your parents. It doesn't matter if you're grieving or rebuilding, or just finally having the time and don't quite know what to do with it. I found getting outside works, not because it's magic, but because it's real. It puts your body somewhere that isn't inside your own head. It gives you something to work toward that isn't on a screen. It reminds you on a really fundamental level that the world is big and you're in it, and that matters. I started this channel because I needed it. I needed it. I kept going because I think you might need it too. If that resonates with you, subscribe. Check out gettingdirtywithglenn.com for more in-depth information. Come find me on Substack, where I write about things I can't quite fit into a video. And check the links below for everything I've reviewed and use on a daily basis. I only put things in my storefront on Amazon that I actually trust. I'm Glenn. Let's go get dirty.